Say what? She said what? There's something about tapping into where we come from. It's part of our core. And we'll talk about why and what that has to do with our psychology and our development, our meaning in life. We'll talk about that in just a second. So ist halt, Leute, was ist denn da los? What's going on here? That's just life. It's just all beautiful. Why is one thing better than the other? I don't understand, Diggity. Why do we hate each other so much? It's perfect for you. Ah, she's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. I want to check out a video with you today, something very different. We go around the world to listen to mostly music. Every so often, I'll react to a video that is not related to music, but has to do with interesting topics. I'm going to check out a video of various people taking a DNA test, looking into their ancestry. Fitting because we go around the world, and what do we find around the world? Beautiful people of all shades of brown. Yep, you heard me. Not black and white, shades of brown. Look at a brown color palette. It will somehow be represented on there. From the peach and beige shades to the beautiful dark chocolate browns. That being said, let's check it out and talk. Latinos getting tested. So let's see what happens here. And why are people reacting to this? Why are people talking about this?
Oh my gosh.
I am 88.7% European. Today we're going to be taking a DNA test.
Finally, to find out if I'm 100% Puerto Rican.
I really hope that I get full 100% Mexican, 100% Mexican. If I don't get 100% Mexican, I'm gonna be sad.
I don't know a lot about my family past my grandparents, and I kind of like it that way.
I feel like I know it's going to be español, tío.
What if you find out you were like a queen in your ancestry?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm from the DR and Sri Lanka, so there's some black in there, but my mom's last name is very white, so something weird probably happened there.
I hope that I'm Bad Bunny's cousin.
Imagine.
I want to know how much Indigenous I have.
Okay. Let's stop there for just a second. We talk about the psychology, we go on deep dive. So let's talk about that for a second. People here, they have their own unique stories, right? The whole nature versus nurture. Are we who we are because of genetics, because of our nature? Is it all kind of ingrained in us, or nurture? I gotta take these earrings out because it's gonna make a lot of noise. Or is it because of our nurture, right? Our environment, the society that we grew up in, the people that have raised us, the culture around us, right? How much percent is what? Nature versus nurture. How much and who are we based on what? And it's interesting to see these very unique people of beautiful various shades of brown coming from different countries, different languages. Well, right now they're all speaking English, but different stories. They all have their unique experience. And we tend to want to group in people, label them, generalize, because it gives us a sense of safety and reference and control. There's different reasons, right? We are tribal to a degree. We're animalistic. We want to belong, but we also want to be unique. Depending on where we fall on that pendulum, we may be more prone to want to belong to a certain group and find sense of identity that way. Or we may rebel against the whole group idea and be like, I'm my own person, I'm unique, I don't belong. Depends. Even here, you can see some people being intrigued, hoping for some royalty in their lineage, hoping for some interesting information that comes out. Others are more afraid, and they say, I don't really want to know more beyond my ancestry past my grandparents. So there's different responses here. And that alone will affect how we perceive information we're given. Are we coming from a place of curiosity or fear? Is it from a place of love or fear? Keep that in mind.
That's the main thing I want to know. So first thing, let's open these.
Spit into the funnel until the amount of liquid saliva reaches that's so much.
Oh, hell no.
To what line?
I don't know if I have that much in me,
Ready, set, spit.
Stop.
Okay, that's it.
So now we have to close this.
Now we're gonna ship it.
And we wait, I think 3 to 5 weeks. I know. Okay, so it's been about 4 to 5 weeks. We finally got the results. I'm super scared, nervous. I'm excited, I don't know.
I'm anxious. I don't know what I am. I'm having an identity crisis.
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I'm worried I'm white.
Oh, there you go, we're in.
Okay, what do we do? What do we do?
Oh my gosh.
Ship it.
And we wait, I think 3 to 5 weeks. I
Takes
know.
a while for those tests
Okay,
to
so
come
it's
back.
been about 4 to 5 weeks. We finally got the results. I'm super scared, nervous. I'm excited. I don't know.
I'm anxious. I don't know what I am.
Different emotions, and interesting. Even that statement, I don't know what I am, right? We all want to know who we are. We all want to belong, more or less to a degree. For some of us, that ties into where we work, how many kids we have, our social status, our marital status. For other people, that is heritage, right? Country, nationality. They differentiate between ethnicity and race nowadays, right? In certain countries, you have to constantly fill out a questionnaire, which is very weird to me. And that's a whole different conversation about what race you are, what ethnicity, what nationality. Right? We tie our identity to where we come from. And increasingly so, what we look like. Everything in life is a pendulum. And where we've gone from demonizing one people group, are we prone to demonize the other now? Are we swinging to the other extreme where we looked at people of a certain skin color a certain way and it was used as propaganda, it was used as a way to suppress a people group? Has been done throughout all history, side note, right? It's not always been just one people group conquering another. It has been all across the board, from Romans conquering to Arabs conquering and Muslim empires and the Ottoman Empire to Europeans and conquering. People tend to do that. We're animals. We're always moving around, the nomads, the wanderers, always trying to figure out where we can go, what we can conquer, how we can attain more. But even on a micro level, day to day, in the comment section, we find that people want to make a name for themselves. They want to be heard. They want to be seen. They want to share their opinion. Different expressions even here, from excitement to, I don't know what's going on. Let's listen.
I'm having an identity crisis.
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I'm worried I'm white.
Oh,
And this statement, I think, is the reason why people are reacting and going, say what? She said what?
Says
I'm nervous. I'm very nervous. I'm worried I'm white.
oh, there you go.
Now, we can take this statement apart and have a field day with it, or a hay day, or what is that? What is that? How do people say that? I could see many people saying, "Ooh, these racists." And if she believes that if there's white in her, that makes her of less value, less interesting, or in any way negative, less than she was before, then yes, one could possibly argue that is a racist thing to say. Why? Because by definition, racism is believing a people group is superior or inferior to another. Note, superior or inferior to another. Thinking that being one skin color over the other is a bad thing. That's the whole dilemma with slavery, right? Using it for economic profit and enslaving people and getting masses to believe that because of the skin tone, someone is of less value, treating them like dogs, abusing them. Horrible, horrible atrocities have been committed in this country, America, and all around the world. But that does not just go for skin color. That has been done to people of religious followings, of certain demographic regions where people have been polarized, still happens in real time, and we keep falling for it, where people are brainwashed to believe something about another people group, again, in regards to their religion. Let's look at the ethnic cleansing of Jewish people that has happened for who knows how long throughout around the world. There's so many different examples of people being demonized. It has been done to Muslims, hate towards Palestinians, hate towards Muslims from various countries because of terror attacks or a storyline that was given to the masses that people then bought and started demonizing people. And now they looked at someone wearing a turban or a burqa as a threat. We always find things to divide and to conquer and try to separate. So if she feels like being white is a bad thing, I could see why people are reacting saying, oh my gosh, what a racist. And that would be sad, right? What would be so bad about being white? But I don't know this lady, so before I jump to conclusions and say, oh, how racist, I can't believe she would say that. It sounds kind of negative, yes, but I would need to know more about her as a person. I want to know, what does she mean, right? Before we jump to conclusions and get so reactive, tell me, what do you mean? What would it mean to you to be white? How much does your complexion, the beautiful brown that you are, the beautiful shade of brown you are, how much does that tie in with your identity? What do you think of white people? What has been told to you? What type of videos and music and content do you listen to? Because again, the algorithm will feed what we watch and it'll feed us more of the same kind. And so we receive that biased confirmation, and before you know it, we have an issue with a certain people group or a certain skin color, and we jump to conclusions. There are a lot of questions here that need to be asked, including what would that mean for you? Because this lady is her own person, and we get bent out of shape about her comment because we take it personal, right? I could take it personal and go, well, I'm a lighter shade than you. I'm white to some people. though I am not white, and I am my own person, and people don't get to decide for me who I am or where I come from. I am not some white American chick, even though I speak fluent American English. I'm Cuban. I am German. Sad kind of to say that I feel like I have to use that as street cred, right? Oh, I'm also Latina. It's sad that we live in that type of world or society. I take pride in where I come from. I speak German fluently. Ich bin aus Deutschland. You can't just box me into some type of category that fits you. But people are going to do what they are going to do. I'm still me. And the same goes for this lady. She is herself, and she has her identity, and she has her way of perceiving the world and herself. And to her, she wants to be perhaps as I don't know, black as possible, as it would be referred to here in the West, or she wants to be as indigenous as possible. Is there something negative that she connects with being white? We take that as a blanket statement and say racist. But God knows what she's experienced. We don't know. God only knows, right? What has been done to her, what she's experienced, or what it would mean for her if somehow her ancestry were white.
We're in.
Okay, what do we do?
Oh my gosh, I'm 71.9% European. Hey! Spanish and Portuguese, 69.8.
Okay, Rosalia.
0.3% Italian. No wonder I like pasta so much. Why is this like the most
Broadly so.
white DNA
It's a
test?
very white DNA test.
Ashkenazi
Jewish.
Jewish,
Everyone knows they're
0.8, 3.2% Congolese, and
I wonder what they mean by a white DNA test. As in like his test results are what they would call white. See, and this is why I kind of am grieved by how much we have made things black and white. I mean, they're speaking pretty fluent English, American English possibly. So they have been in the West probably long enough to have been influenced by its mindsets. It really depends where you go. In Africa and Tanzania, I was called Mzungu, right? They referred to me as Mzungu. I was the white girl, right? But then there was also a bus full of Africans driving by calling me Salma. Salma or something. And my friend from Tanzania said they probably think I'm some Arabic girl. Right? It really depends where you come from, where you go, how people perceive you. People heard my accent, they think I'm from the north, somewhere in America. Others, they hear some accent, they think Brazil, Italian. It's flattering. It's beautiful all around the world. Perhaps they mean these results are fairly white because they consider, European to be white, Italian, Portuguese, I think. And it's interesting that we deem that all white. But I'm thinking to myself, have you been to Portugal? Have you been to Italy? There's various shades of brown even there. And even though many of them may have a more fair complexion, partly also due to colonization and different things that have happened in the past, it's still a beautiful mosaic of various people. And if I were to go to Italy and say, you're just, white people, just like in Spain, you're just same with Germany. Oh, you and Austria are the same. In Switzerland, it's all just the same. You're all just white people. That would be offensive. Try to tell a person from France it's just the same like Germany because they both have the same skin tone. Hakuna Mashizel, was ist mit euch los? What's wrong here? Like this, people take pride in their country and in their life and in their language and in their culture, and it's not just about color. So I'm not sure how they meant it exactly, but to me, I'm thinking like, yeah. So you have a lot of European in you. It's beautiful. And they did clap, so.
Southern East African. Let's go to the Congos.
Oh, we're going to the Congos.
Hey, come on, let's go. Recent ancestry in the Americas, Caribbean. Ponce, Puerto Rico. Wow, Ponce. I got some blood in Ponce there. Hey. I'm honestly very surprised at the fact that I have more indigenous American blood than African blood.
Oh, I already saw a number I don't like.
I'm confused at that statement. He said he's surprised that he has more American indigenous. Aren't they like Latinos from like Boricua? I thought maybe they were Puerto Rican. I don't remember what they said. I thought he said he's from Puerto Rico. To me, that makes a lot of sense. Now, when it comes to Cuba, when it comes to Puerto Rico, when it comes to these various places, countries, islands, yeah, we're going to find a mix, even in Cuba, right? There's the more fair-skinned Cubans, there's the more Afro-Cubans, and a lot of that happened most likely due to Spanish and Portuguese conquerings and colonization. That's life. It'd be like that sometimes, right? If we were to go further into time, we'd find the same thing being done when Arabs conquered, when we had the various empires and conquerings throughout history. So ist halt, Leute, was ist denn da los? What's going on here? That's just life. It's just all beautiful. Why is one thing better than the other? I don't understand, Diggity. Why do we hate each other so much? Hakuna Matata.
There you
Which
go.
one?
44% European.
Okay, I can see it. I was expecting more.
46.9% East Asian Indigenous American.
Okay.
Okay. I got those native roots, you know, I'm very in
Yes.
touch. 1% Jewish. What's up? Where's Mexico?
There you go.
It even tells you like what part of Mexico I'm from. That's wild. Nuevo León.
I still am amazed at how those DNA tests work. I don't really get it. I haven't looked into the science enough. I don't really understand how some spit and your DNA can tell you that. But
Jalisco. Jalisco is known for like a little bit more white, a little bit like colored eyes, blonde hair. So that's super interesting. Chihuahua, you already know, baby. That's where I'm from. El Norte, El Paso, Texas. Shout out 915. 0.4% Italian. I think that's why I dress so well.
If you say so.
Oh my God, I'm not white. Like at all. Oh, thank God. I'm mostly central and
okay, and see, my beautiful sister. I would love to know why she feels so relieved. But again, we're a whole bunch of people are going to get triggered by this and be like, "What do you mean oh my God, you're not white?" Chance is that might be a lot of people who consider themselves white, and I really hate those expressions, black and white, because none of us are that. I mean, look at a color wheel. Scientifically, not even colors, by the way. Her beautiful darker brown shade of brown, okay? And someone who is a more light brown, beige, peach. I could see many on the lighter spectrum being triggered by that statement because we get defensive. If someone were to say, "Oh my God, I'm so glad my name is not Rosalie. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I don't look like her," right? "Oh, I'm so glad that I don't talk like this chick that's talking to me. Oh, I'm so glad," whatever. People are people. People are wild, right? You might, I mispronounced a word recently, and I got a couple of comments that were just people that were just, I guess, so affected by it, they felt the need to comment and criticize and ridicule or question the fact that I have a degree because I said a word wrong in English. Not realizing that native is not originally that English is not my native tongue. Granted, I grew up speaking it, but it was like my secondary language. All my education happened in Germany. I got my master's degree in Germany. I speak more than 2 languages, so I am allowed to make some mistakes, I'd argue. But people get so bent out of shape when you make a mistake, when you do something, when you say something. And so we don't ask questions enough. We don't ask enough questions. And I could see white people getting defensive at this and saying, "Oh my gosh, how dare she say that? What does that mean?" Because we take it personal. We think that she's now saying being white is a bad thing. And because we're white, that means we're bad. And we get defensive instead of realizing this has nothing to do with me. This has everything to do with her. But before I demonize her and I say, "I can't believe she said that," I'd like to know why. Why do you feel relief that you're not white? What is it about the whiteness that scares you? This could have nothing to do with white and black as we find in America. Maybe she just really longs to belong to an indigenous group. Maybe she has felt outside, an outcast in her life. Maybe she feels like she doesn't quite fit in her circle of friends or family. Maybe she has been ridiculed for her appearance. And so she's trying to find her sense of identity and pride in what she looks like or where she comes from. Maybe she is so hungry for meaning to her existence, and her death anxieties and existential fears have kicked in because she wonders what her life is all about. What's the point of all this? And so now she's connected it, and I'm just making up assumptions, okay? These are all just theories. Maybe she so tightly connects that to where she comes from, and she would like to know where she belongs because she doesn't feel like she quite does. And so it has to be something Asian or something African. I don't know, but it has nothing to do with me. It has nothing to do with you.
South Asian. Southern Asian,
Beautiful.
45%. We knew that. Southern Indian and Sri Lankan, 45.5%. Shocker. The other 36% is Sub-Saharan African. Are we surprised? No. Oh no, European.
And you know what, guys? Guys, they're doing that to get a reaction out of you, okay? Of course you're going to pick her, and of course you're going to focus on this. You see how the camera zoomed in? She did not zoom that camera in on herself. They're zooming in because they're going to get reaction videos. Haha, hi. And they're going to get comments on it from people. That's what they want to do. Let us not be so quick to be polarized. Hakuna mashizzle.
10%. That is an amount I can allow. So my mom is from the Dominican Republic. That didn't show up here at all. So where did they come from? As far as I know, my mom's family has been in the DR. but maybe not even as many generations
yeah.
as they think. I'm assuming the 40% African is the Dominican, and they ended up in the DR for less time than we thought.
Could be that the Europeans came to the Dominican, and the Dominicans and the Africans had babies, and your great-great-great-grandparents came along. It's all beautiful. I think she's beautiful, and it's so fun to look into that.
Oh my gosh!
I am 88.7% European. Spanish and Portuguese, I'm 85.4%.
Beautiful.
So no Italian.
No Italian.
Interesting.
I'm gonna call my mom about this. Oh, and what's the first state in Mexico that pops up? Jalisco, Mexico. Viva Mexico! The comments are gonna be like, she's not even.
Are you even
Am I
Latina at this? I'm kidding.
This is another conversation, by the way. When we look at Latinos and Latinas, and that whole conversation, right? There is a sense of pride and beauty in being a Latina, being a Latino, right? But obviously there's going to be influences from Europe and all these different places, Spain, Portugal, all that. That's just how the world works. If it wouldn't have been that way, it wouldn't have been the other way around. That's just how people operate, in my opinion. And so even here, right, I said earlier, oh, they're speaking fluent English. You know, I'm assuming they've been in America for a while. But that doesn't change the fact that they're Latinos, that they have a Latino heritage, and that's a beautiful thing. And so even there we find this polarization where people want to be like, oh, if you don't speak fluent Spanish, you're not Latino, or, oh, you live in America now. Yes, we're in America now. We're Americans, but there's something beautiful about knowing where we come from, taking pride in it. I would argue as long as it doesn't divide us, as long as we don't now think we're better than, or we allow that to become our sole identity. We're human beings, ever being, growing, changing, and I think that's important. We keep doing that. And part of that is to be able to have conversations and not over-identify, neither with our personality types and our characteristics, nor with the things we do or have done, nor with where we come from, right? We need to be more balanced, I feel.
Rosalia's cousin.
I know, I called you Rosalia. Mira.
Please.
Okay, view report.
We don't want to kick you out from the team.
40.9% East Asian and Indigenous. I wanted 70 or 80.
You're 4% less color.
I had an interesting conversation with someone in the comment section not too long ago about being Indigenous. And this beautiful person expressed struggle with having those not Indigenous roots as well, the European or the colonization influences, because her identity was very tied to wanting to be Indigenous and not wanting to be connected to the horrors of, you know, some of the things that colonizers had done. And I spoke to her about that, and I expressed understanding and empathy, but I also let her know that I feel like that's just the way that the world works, as I mentioned earlier. People that have come around, unfortunately, horrors that have been done, but that goes for every people group. There's been horrors done in various places between various people. It's not just one people group versus the other. And I don't say that to excuse horrors. I say that to point out that that's human behavior. We find that even on a micro level when it comes to social media, people teaming up, people commenting, people looking for bias confirmation, people being so quick to be polarized and believe whatever we're told and then follow a certain narrative and be fed more of the same due to the algorithm. And then 2 months later, it's all forgotten and nobody's talking about it anymore, right? It's this hype, it's this frenzy. We do that. And then we point fingers, though, at other countries that have done that in the past. And we go, I could have never. How did they not speak up? How did they not stand up to certain terrorism or certain dictatorship? How could they? Look at what we're doing. Look how quickly we're polarized. Look how quickly we are silent or we don't stand up or we protect our own, because survival of the fittest, right? If there's a chance that my risk, me and mine are in danger, that's what I'm going to focus on. To hell with the world. A lot of people approach it that way. I empathized with her desire to want to be as Indigenous as possible, but I also encouraged her to celebrate all that she is and to celebrate what her ancestors, all of them, have been through and what has shaped her story for who she is now and where she's ended up. Versus hating or rejecting a part of ourselves because of what our ancestors may or may not have done. You know, and being German, I speak to you in real time from that position. You know, I could be ashamed and I could feel small for some of the things my ancestors have done, but they're not me. And I don't know their life story. I don't know who they are, what they did, or the situations they were in that led to the decisions they made. And that's not to excuse horrors that were done, but I'm saying I can hate myself now, or half of my entire existence and nationality and heritage, or I can celebrate it and take pride in it and the good parts and learn from it and be the best me I can be, because that's who I am now.
Nice, and I am. Congratulations.
From Spanish and Portuguese, 27%.
Welcome to the team.
Northwestern European, British,
I can see that, the class, the elegance that you carry yourself with.
From Nicaragua, I have
I love that they're saying some positive things here. You know, the class, the elegance when we're talking about British people or Italian, the style and the pasta, right? He's celebrating some of these things. I like his mindset. It's positive. It's not from a place of hate, I feel.
Yourself with.
From Nicaragua, I have Managua. What?
That's right.
I'm from Chinandega, which is number
Third?
3.
Mine too.
Okay.
Mine was a third.
Okay. All of El Salvador is lit up right now. I've never been to El Salvador, but I have like a bunch of departments that were connected to me.
They call them departments? They don't call them cities or states?
Well, in Nicaragua, we call them departamentos. So,
Not states or cities?
no, we had an ancestor from Lebanon. I don't see Lebanon here, so somebody lied.
Unfortunately, I did not discover that I'm Princess Diana's long lost relative
Unfortunately not.
or a long lost royal.
What surprised you the most?
The 44% European.
Oh my gosh.
Like, no offense to the Europeans, you know, to my vanilla friends out there. I love all of you.
So, you know, it's interesting to me. He is obviously of a very fair complexion. So in the, you know, if he didn't have Latino roots, you know, he'd be looked at as white in America, right? By those who are small-minded. Yep, I said it. I said what I said. And it's funny though. He's being sweet about it, right? No offense to the Europeans, you know, the vanilla. But I guess if you're European, you're vanilla, according to his mindset. So I guess it's no longer a matter of skin shade or lack or presence of melanin. It's origin. And Europeans, I guess, are vanilla. But the funny thing is, you go to Spain, you go to Italy, you go to Portugal, you go to various countries in Europe, you hang out with some of those people, go to some of the East European countries, right? Or go to places like Serbia, Croatia, Macedonia. These people are not vanilla, whatever vanilla means, right? Vanilla, I don't know, being snowflakes, being fair complexion. I guess the complexion doesn't matter because he is has a fair complexion. Is it behavior? You know, what does it mean to be vanilla? Because when you go to those places, I tell you for sure, there's a lot of Roma influences. There's a lot of passion. There's a lot of culture, from dancing, from passion, from heated conversations, from cultural elements that are beautiful. They're not vanilla. I'm assuming, maybe I shouldn't, but I'm assuming he means vanilla as in bland or simple or white. I don't know. You tell me what vanilla means, right? Vanilla is very delicious to many people. But, you know, it's just interesting because we don't find just white people in Europe. You know, we don't just find vanilla people in Europe, but somehow if you are in America or in the West, somehow this narrative is being pushed that Europe or fair-skinned people or Caucasians are like vanilla. Like, there are people out there with fair complexions that have more spice than you and your mama combined. And then there's people of fair complexions that are, you know, it's people, it's personalities, it's culture. I wish we would just be finished with the focus on skin color. The joy in finding your ancestry, though, the countries you come from, celebrating that, I understand that. Because we look for identity. And that's what I mentioned at the beginning. We psychologically are built based on we long for identity. We long to belong. We want to know where we're from. We want to be unique in our own person, but also belong to a tribe. And a big part of our identity is formed around what we do, who we're with, where we're from. And there's something about us humans in our finite existence, in our mortality, that we long to hold on to to time, right? We're either stuck in the past, we're reminiscing about the future, we're trying to grasp the sand running through our fingers. And our identity is often closely tied to what we want to achieve in the future or what has happened in the past. And so that's where our ancestry comes into play, right? We want to understand who were my parents, my grandparents, great-grandparents, what was their story, where do I come from, who am I? It's this, at the core, this desire to figure out who am I and give meaning to our own existence. And it depends on how we go about that. Do we do that through the lens of the narrative that media pushes and politics and the world who want us polarized and fighting? Or do I look at that lens and search for my identity from a balanced perspective, doing my own research, celebrating the various elements? A mosaic is shattered glass, broken pieces, beautiful, various colors. If I were to only have blues, if I were to only have the same exact shade of blue, it would not look as colorful and as multifaceted as a colorful or various shades of blue or colorful mosaic. But it's the various colors, the nuances, the darker and the lighter, the accents of gold or silver, the black, the white, the dark browns, and the light and bright yellows that create multi-dimensions, that create dynamic and bring beauty. And that same goes for people, not just in regards to our skin color, but even in regards to our heritage, our ancestry, the countries. It's all part of what has put us here and now, and it's beautiful.
I was worried I was going to have 90 siblings, like that documentary that I watched last week. So at least that didn't happen.
Like I'm 1% Jewish.
1% Jewish.
So-
I don't think you can claim that.
Oh, come on.
I mean, you just say you're Mexican and I'm Puerto Rican.
And
that's
that's
it.
that.
Don't think about it too much.
That's a see, and I like his simple conclusion. You know, everyone's different though. Some people are gonna say, nah, I really want to dive into my ancestry. That really matters to me. Others are saying, listen, I am where I come from. That's who they are now, right? That's where they're from. That's who they are. I'm Puerto Rican. Perhaps he's living in America now. Maybe at some point he'll consider himself Puerto Rican American. That's where he's from. And I sometimes think that helps too, just to keep it simple and say, listen, this is where I'm from. What do you think? What does this make you think and feel? Comment below. I'll see you on the next ride. Thank you for enjoying something different with me today, still related to going around the globe and learning about different cultures, countries, and psychology. I'll see you on the next ride. Ayo!